Hey friends, we're so glad you're here and have tuned into So, What Makes You Come Alive podcast. We're your hosts, Gabe the Girl
and Michaela McGee, and we're here to explore what it would look like to take ownership of and change the narratives of our lives to live a life fully alive. All right, episode number 4. We can count.
Or I was like, wait a second.
But this is our very first episode with having a guest on the show, and we are so excited. I'm super excited because this is my friend Natalie, soon to be everybody's new friend. She and I met
new friend.
Obviously. This is true. Maybe not obviously for everybody listening, but by the end of this episode, it's going to be everybody's new best friend. Get freaking ready. Okay, Natalie and I met in 2016 in Morocco. And like, this is part of the crazy everything. This world that we live in is amazing. I love meeting people all over the world and worlds colliding many, many years later. I have been so excited at the thought of having her on this show because I think that she lives one of the most joyfully lit up lives that I've seen. She is such a ball of joy, even in the midst of the ups and downs and everything in life. She is one of the people that I know. Check it out. Look at this little intro here. Now you got a lot to live up to. I'm just kidding. But it's really, I'm so excited for you guys to hear from her because she will say it like it is, but also is one of the most hilarious people that I know. She can see the joy and finds the joy and laughter in the midst of everything. So, Natalie, without further ado, what makes you come alive? What really lights you up?
Michaela. That was quite the intro. I do feel, man, I'm gonna have new best friends. That's exciting.
You know, it's a big day.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I was thinking about this question because it's a hard question for me to answer, I think. And it's not something that I have totally figured out, but like, I think what kind of was coming to me is just this like idea of connection and connecting, whether that's connecting with people, connecting with an idea, connecting with the earth, connecting with myself, connecting with God. I think that's, you know, it's kind of like this idea of like alignment too, where it's just like, I feel aligned, like my life feels right now. It makes sense. Like,
yeah,
everything's kind of like lining up. I think that's when I feel like the most lit up and like able to operate as like my best self and have the capacity to like do exactly what you were explaining that I can do, which is be hilarious and whatever, like be a presence in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think connection is like what I landed on.
I think
Tell
that's
us a little bit about that connection as it comes to like your day-to-day, like what you do, what you're involved with, what are your experiences like in life right now?
Yeah. Oh man. Honestly, like something I like don't want to talk about because it's like not cool and not fun. And like I've been in such a hard place for years now. And I mean, this is maybe jumping the gun to like a further question down the road here. But I guess like I'm seeing some sparks of connection coming alive in me again, and that's been encouraging. One thing that I've like held on to with like both my hands and like I'm going on this ride is breath work. I have been just like obsessed with it and have just been able to connect with myself, with my body, with God, like with clarity of mind and just like that alignment, that connection that I'm talking about. I'm like feeling that in breath work, and that's been super cool. So right now that's like what I feel like connected to, where I'm just like, this feels right. This feels, you know, like a direction to move in, moving towards things that like make me feel excited, that free me up to be my best self. So yeah, that's one thing that I can say that's been like connective currently in my life. But I mean, I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin right now, and I'm working for the state as like a community nutrition educator. But you guys, I am I literally have taken every stability in my life and pulled it out from under me. I like am quitting my job. I'm moving to a different city. I'm starting grad school.
Wow.
I actually cut off a friend of mine recently, which I've literally never done in my life.
So
But
hard.
she has been dimming my light and like
Yeah.
doing so over years. And I didn't realize it until like doing this breath work, becoming more aware. Self-worth is like being put back into my life. And I was just like, no, I can't be around this energy. It's not good for me. And I have to just like, I love her and I'll always love her. And I still love her today, but like, I just can't be around her right now. So, I mean, yeah. It's kind of like, but I don't know, this pulling away of these securities is giving me freedom that I think was actually trapping me in a lot of ways. So, yeah.
Amazing. Major announcements, major life changes like coming
I
your
mean,
way.
all my best friends need to know, so that's why I'm broadcasting.
There we go. And now they know.
We really all brought you together today, so Natalie can make a big announcement.
Yep.
How amazing. That's so cool.
I think so. I mean, honestly, I just feel like what you were speaking to about being in alignment, like connecting like from the earth to yourself, to God, like in every single different way is what can bring awareness for like what is good in your life and what is maybe not serving you at this moment, and stepping into that and saying like, okay, this relationship right now is not serving me. Yes, you can still love her. You can still be grateful for that friendship for what it once was, but to make that separation, freaking A, that's not easy at all, but is so important for living a life that's fully lit up, for not dimming your light, as you said. And I think that that's so powerful to recognize it and then take action on it. Like, good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It has been one of the most empowering things I think I've done in a long time. And I'm not sure why I feel that or why it feels so powerful, but I think it's standing up for myself in a way and showing up for myself in a way that I never have before. So it's this kind of new, I don't know, level of like respect for myself, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But yeah, that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's huge. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, how long ago did you start like making changes? Like, when did that start for you? Because you said it's new, so.
Like, can you clarify, like changes as far as?
So doing the breath work and, you know, making the hard decisions and realizing that there are things that need to be changed and making those changes, like, is there a certain time in which you felt like, yeah, this is where it all started?
Yeah, that is, wow, a good question. You know, I think I am a person that is like constantly changing. And I was actually going to bring this up too, because it's been one of the challenges for me in finding what lights me up. Do you guys ever like see like video game characters? I don't know if like you played video games when you're younger, but like they've got the characters and like you're like, pick like, I don't know, his name's Chad, and Chad can like, Chad's got like 100% on like the bow and arrow, and then like, but he's got like 0% or like 2% on hunting and gathering, and then like whatever, he's got 7% on goat wrangling or whatever, whatever it is. And like, then there's the other character you can pick and they're like 40% like hunter gatherer, like, 37%, whatever, basically like a well-rounded character versus like one that's super specialized, like super, pinpointed on like who they are and what they're doing in this world. And I've always felt like the second character that's just kind of like 30%, 70, just kind of like working with those like middle ground, well-rounded, like can adapt to a lot of different environments and situations. So I think I've been going through the changes for a long time, but like for a long time, my faith really was my identity, and that like grounded me in such a very significant way. And it was in like 2017, I went to this farm in Texas and I lived there for 2 years, and I was introduced to all of these like very different ideas about even the faith that I was operating in. And that kind of like really messed me up, like in a really hard way. And like even now I'm still like dealing with a lot of the mess of it. It was like splitting open an atom, and all of these, you're like, oh shoot, like all of a sudden there's all these protons and neutrons, and I didn't even know that they were in there. And I've destroyed the container that I've been living in and operating in. And now I really want to just gather all the protons and the neutrons and bring them back into the container, because it was like operating as a really efficient atom, like there. But I can't do that. And it's impossible now because they're strewn everywhere. Like there's no way I can gather up all of these. I don't even know if neutrons and protons, what's inside an atom, I don't know, but like
sounds right,
all the things inside, like I have had to now go to each one and try to discover it with curiosity. What is this? What is this? Like, where I didn't know this part of me existed, and I'm like discovering it and trying to connect with it. And so like that has been a very intense self-reflective process that I have given probably too much of my energy to in the past few years, but it felt necessary.
That's good. So of some of the things that you've listed, like doing your breath work and connecting with the earth and God, in those ways, what has inspired you or encouraged you to keep those things a part of your life, to do the things that make you feel like you're living a life fully alive?
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to place where the motivation comes from. It feels like there's no other choice. This is like literally I have no other option. And for me, I just don't know how else to do life. Like I cannot just because I think too, like one of the biggest things about knowing what lights you up is being able to recognize what kills you and makes you feel dead. And I think like I was just like blissfully living life lit up for so long, and then I like stuff died, and I was feeling like so awful and like dead, and figuring out like right now this job I'm at is killing me, and so like I need to leave, and so like I think the inspiration though is, for me, it's always been like a higher knowing, just knowing that like the things that I can't see, the things I can't understand, awe and wonder and like curiosity is what like keeps me going, because it's just like those are the mysteries of life that just like I know hold something so beautiful and like so meaningful and so purposeful. And so like those are the things that like help me chase after like what I know is good and what is goodness in me and
Mm.
how I can be better in the world, I guess. Yeah.
Dang. I just feel like mic drop right after that. Right there we go.
Literally.
And Gabe just dropped the mic. Like, holy moly. We do have so much to live for. And I love how you put it in such a like beautifully arbitrary way. Like it's in the awe and the wonder and the curiosity and the things that like we can't explain and we'll never be able to explain, but we get to enjoy. Yet it's here, like in the midst of everything, there still is awe and wonder, and have like being able to let that be what inspires you is that's amazing. Like it's encouraging to me to know that, because there are massive ups and downs, and especially as you're like in this season of pulling away the structure, like your atom already blew up, like imploded whatever 5 years ago, and yet here you are and you're like, I'm gonna try it all over again. Like just pull things out and see what it looks like to rebuild, because there is so much curiosity, because there's that awe and that wonder, and like what if, like what could it look like if we restructured, or if there were no structure, or whatever. Like that's, I'm in awe in this moment. I feel like I'm at a loss of words. I know I just said a lot of words, but wow.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I'm doing my best. I'm out here trying, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's what's inspiring, right? That like we're all living this life. Every life is totally different, and we're still trying. You're continuing to go every day, and not just the mundane. You're looking for the things that light you up. So I know that you have shared a little bit about the death, the darkness and everything, but what has it been in those times? Like, how has it been facing those challenges? Like knowing that there have been seasons on the other side of that, like before the challenges or after the challenges or whatever it is, like, what is it, I guess, that like helps you get out of these challenges that you're facing?
Yeah. I mean, at some points it's like very hopeless, and I felt like I wasn't going to get out, and I, kind of like I was sharing, I still kind of feel on my way out. But I think like knowing that I've been in a much better place before, and like I know what it feels like to be fully living and like totally in alignment and connected with myself and God and the world. Like I think, splitting the atom really kind of felt like I will never be able to figure this out ever again. And I think what has been a big lesson I've been learning too is just letting go and release. And yeah, I will never be able to figure this out again. And that's actually the point. And so like living in that place and acceptance of me and where I am instead of trying to fight it. And I think that's where those structures fell out from before me too, as I'm just like, these are trapping me and I need freedom from these things that I've kind of created to make me feel stable, but are actually making me feel super dead. And I might be standing, but I don't need to be, because I'm not doing anything that's, really life-giving to myself or anyone else. So, I think just knowing that like just a tiny bit of hope can go a long way. I think I've never felt more grateful for like faith and hope. And I know this sounds like so like what platitude-y or whatever, but like faith is so powerful, just to believe. And the mystery of faith, I've been like super kind of like into Richard Rohr and like Catholicism, but like it's a little bit different take on it. But I went to Ash Wednesday on Ash Wednesday, not the other day, on a Tuesday. No. And the priest like held up the Eucharist, and like Catholics believe that like the Eucharist is like actually Jesus. And he just like said in this like loud voice, like, the mystery of faith. And I was just like so struck by that, because to me, it just was like, oh my gosh, yes, this makes absolutely no logical sense. It makes no sense that Jesus would be in this piece of bread. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. But they're like, the Catholics are just saying it too. They're like, the mystery of faith, this makes no sense, but we believe it. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, oh my gosh, this connected me in such a meaningful way to that split atom, where I'm like, this makes no logical sense, but I have to believe it because it's in front of me. And like, the logic isn't there, but I just have an inner knowing, a faith, a belief that like, it can be better, it will be better, it is good, God is good, like life is good. Yeah. And so like, yeah, I think faith and hope are like very powerful places to be.
Yeah. And you don't have to have a whole lot of it.
No.
The tiniest glimmer can pull you out of utter darkness. It's a tiny little flame.
Right.
Natalie, I love so much of what you said. And some things that stick out to me is, you're encouraging me in the fact that like, I need to remind myself I'm such a forgetful human. And, I walk into a room and I'm like, why am I here? And so like, when we come to those challenging times and we go, why am I here? It's great to be able to look back. The times that you've come through those challenges before, the times where, you had that glimmer of hope, and that glimmer of hope really saw you through those challenges and those times. Like, it's essential. I feel like going to write down a list now of like all my little glimmers of hope, all those testaments to myself, so that I can look back at it when I'm forgetful, and I find myself in that challenging place, like you've said you've been in, many times before. Yeah, it's awesome.
Totally. Good. I'm glad you're encouraged.
Yeah.
So
what an encouraging podcast.
On that encouraging note, what encouragement or wisdom, little bit of like a nugget, can you give to anyone who desires to pursue a life fully lit up? Think about you carrying like a lit flame into a dark room. We're starting to bring all of our lights together. What would be yours?
I think like it's kind of not being afraid to split that atom, and like, it's scary, and also like facing mortality, like facing death and facing the darkness, because like out of it is a whole new world of discovery and curiosity. And I think it's going to be really hard, but it'll be worth it. And you're going to blossom and become new. Yeah, I think that, not being afraid of the dark in order to find the light is important. Being able to, see that contrast even in your life. Like, I had a professor in college, and she had said to me, like, there's like 3 tracks that you could study for like nutrition. One was clinical, one was community, and one was like food service. And she was like, you need to really try them all. And I was like, no, like I already know that like I don't like the clinical, I don't like it. But like I took her advice and I like did it. And like sure enough, I hated it. And like, I knew myself well enough to know that like, that wasn't for me. But like, still that experience holds worth. Like, even in that, like, you get to go back to your professor and be like, told you so. I know this about myself. You know, it can verify things you already know, things that are already there, as well as help you discover things that you didn't know were there. I was also drawing the other day, and I don't draw often. Like, I need to get back into it because it's something that does light me up as well. I feel connected to it. But as I was drawing, I was reminded that like, I just felt like I was telling myself like, Natalie, this part of you is still here and has always been here, even in the dark. Like, this piece isn't moving. And so like, there is stability even in ourselves in the dark that's coming with you to the light too, you know, but you're going to find new pieces of yourself as well in that atom split. So that would be, I mean, that's not really nugget. That's kind of like a big, like, dinosaur chicken nugget, but like, sorry if you're looking for a little mini McDonald's
I don't think
nugget,
she said the word little. It's the wisdom nugget, the big one.
Yeah, just to face that darkness and face, you know, the shadows and all of that stuff.
The uncertainty.
With bravery. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I really do feel like that bravery comes from having that tiny little bit of light. Like, even if the light is the belief in something else, the belief in the awe and the wonder, like, it might not feel like it's coming from you, but there still is light there.
Yeah.
Man, this was so good. I love that analogy so much of cracking open the atom. I feel like, if we're being honest, most of us have had that experience and have not been able to put words to it, but it's just like, holy mother of pearl, what is life?
Right.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
The atom.
Exactly.
Cracked.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Amazing. Thanks for sharing your giant wisdom nugget.
Thank you guys for having me. I really enjoy sharing. And
oh my gosh.
I hope it's helpful to all my new besties out there.
Yes.
All your new best friends. But it's true. I think that there was so much that for me was definitely encouraging and inspiring from this conversation. So thank you for taking the time, for being open and honest about this stuff. Like you were saying at the beginning, it's all about that connection, and yes, connecting with ourselves, with the earth, with God, with everything, but like also with humanity. Like, we're all freaking figuring this stuff out as we go. And so to be able to share with one another the little things that we've learned, or the little big ass golden nuggets that we have that have guided us through those really challenging times, or that have been super inspiring for us to help us go leaps and bounds, like, that is the whole purpose of so much. Like, we get to learn from one another. We don't have to do this alone. And how incredible is it that we get to be inspired by people who are literally just going one day at a time. Like you were saying, like, you're just out there trying every day. And that alone is such an inspiration. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
nice.
For all of our new friends, if you guys have anything that resonated with you, if you have any questions for us, a question for Natalie, we can send her by email. Be sure to leave us a voice memo or make a comment in one of our social media areas so that we can get back to you.
Yes. And we will see you guys next week. Looking forward to it.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to So What Makes You Come Alive. We're so inspired by the conversations we get to have with everyday humans about what lights them up and how to love the story they're living. We hope that you feel just as inspired too.
Interested in getting in on the inspiration? Click the link in our Instagram bio @ThriveFullyAlive and select the option for The One About You. Be our guest. Remember to tune in each week for a new episode where we explore what it looks like to get back to living our best story, where we hope that your favorite story becomes your own.